All right, we're going to do a quick intro video for a 10-acre tract, over 300 feet of frontage directly on Bryant Creek. This is at Panther Hollow. This happens to be tract 23 at Panther Hollow. So we're in southern Wright County, Missouri. We're about an hour east of Springfield, Missouri. Excellent location, hunting phenomenal. Power and phone are both very nearby, within just a few hundred feet actually. Let's hop in and we'll have a look at this. So here's the property. It's outlined in red. The entire southwest side borders the easement road, which is the yellow line here. It goes northeasterly, a little over 1,100 feet, and the entire northeast side borders Bryant Creek. So this is close to the headwaters of Bryant Creek, which begins, I believe, about 3 miles to the northwest in the Cedar Gap Conservation Area, which, by the way, is over 400 acres of public land that's generally open for hunting, and it's got some trails you can explore, so that's pretty cool. But that's where Bryant Creek begins. So this is up toward the start of Bryant Creek. It's not you're not going to put a boat in the water here, but there are generally minnows in the creek. I mean, we don't call anything year-round, really, any creeks or rivers in the Ozarks for that matter. When we've been out here, it's either been flowing quite a bit, or at least a little bit. We've been told that at sometimes it could potentially dry up, or there might just be pools of water in it, but that just depends on the weather pattern, I guess. But the exciting thing is super private. It's got a couple of open meadows. It's got mature timber. I'm not sure where to begin on this one. We could zoom out a little bit and look at the area. I think we'll do that to a limited extent here, because if you look at the main intro page for Panther Hollow, I think we have a longer video where we do that. But we'll zoom it out. We'll check out where this is in relation to Highway 60. Okay. I'm actually going to turn those labels off because that looks a little funky. There we go. We're using the MapBright interactive map. You'll see the same map on the listing page for this tract, which is probably where you are. And you can do most of the stuff we're doing as far as zooming in, zooming out, changing the base maps and all that stuff. So up here toward the top, you've got Highway 60, main east-west road in southern Missouri. From Highway 60, if you go west, you're about an hour from Springfield, maybe a little less. East, this is the little town of Mansfield, Missouri. So currently, the way we get to this property, by the way, the shaded area, that's the Cedar Gap Conservation Area. This blue line, if you didn't already guess that, that's Bryant Creek. So to get to the property from Highway 60, you go south, Highway 5 south into Mansfield, and then go west on Highway B. So follow the little Mickey Mouse hand here, and then Highway B cuts to the south. Alternately, once you get just a little familiar with the area, you can actually get onto Highway B directly from Highway 60 here. It's just not well marked, so unless you're familiar with it, you won't see it, and then you can shoot right over. Either way, go south on B, cross these train tracks, go a little further. A good landmark is you'll cross Bryant Creek, which means you're getting close to your turnoff. Go about another half mile or so, and then take the county road to the west. It's County Road 520. Continue straight on that all the way until you get to the intersection here of 520 and 507. Use the MapBright app for sure on your first trip, and you can check out the FAQ page on the website for details on that. Go north, and then you've got actually your entrance to Panther Hollow right about here. Hop onto that easement road and take that down to the property. Alternately, there is actually a county road that comes off of, off of Highway 60. If you take Highway O, which is a paved road, take that actually into the start of the Cedar Gap Conservation Area. You'll cross these train tracks and then immediately go left onto the gravel road and take that to the south. That's actually a county road. It goes down to Bryant Creek, and it does go across Bryant Creek and up the other side, but this section right here between the Panther Hollow Road and Bryant Creek itself had not been maintained by the county for 25 or 30 years when we started this project. So we did get a hold of the county. We talked to them. We asked them if they could go ahead and kind of start maintaining that. They said they would. It does go up a hillside, and it's probably always going to be a kind of a rough gravel county road, but when they start to open that up, then it'll make it a lot easier to get to Panther Hollow and to this property, because you can come right off Highway 60, take Highway O south, and take the county road kind of down through the woods. It's pretty cool, but it's kind of slow going, and then cross over Bryant Creek and come up that way. You'll need a truck or an SUV to go that way. And as of right now, I don't know how far the county has gotten on opening up this section of road. I know it's been started. They had some trees and whatnot to remove, and we were actually helping them out with that. So there is progress. Alternately, obviously, you can come in the old way, which is the way we're used to, and take Highway B down to the county road, come up that way. Okay, so the property itself, you'll come in on the easement road, and zoom in a little bit here, and you'll go down a little hill right about here, and then as soon as you get to the meadow area, you'll know that you're close to the property. So it's just another 300 or 400 feet once you get to the meadow, and then you're going to see the land on the north or on the left side. It goes from a meadow area to heavily wooded, back to a meadow, back to heavily wooded, and then the creek. And why don't we switch to a topo map to show you how this ground lays. So where you come in on the south side, that's going to be actually the highest point of the property. Technically, I guess the southwest side is the highest point. The meadow itself is relatively flat. I guess it slopes gently as you go toward the timber. And then once you get into the timber itself, you actually cross a little seasonal creek bed. And there's a trail that it goes down and then it goes back up. And there's a trail that leads to this upper meadow area. And the upper meadow is basically a large, flat, beautiful, kind of a natural open meadow. And I'm sure you'll see that in the videos. From the meadow area, as you continue northeast, you get to the timber, it begins to slope, and then as you get closer to the creek, it slopes more steeply, and once you get within 100 or 200 feet of the creek, it's steep down to the creek. So if you wanted to do some kind of trail for a four-wheeler or for a vehicle, you'd have to get a big piece of equipment out there to do that. As it is now, you probably just want to plan on walking down to the creek and kind of being careful when you do so, because it does get steep at the creek side. And I think you'll see that in the drone video as well. We can play with these base maps a little bit. It's kind of a summer look. These round circles you see, this base map's a couple years old. This was used for hunting and for cattle as well. So those round circles are where they had the round hay bales. This does show meadow, timber. You can actually see that little seasonal creek bed, more timber, and then the large flat section. So as far as building sites, I mean, you've got options. There are obviously setbacks on all these tracts, but a good portion of this meadow on the southwest could be used for building or camping or whatnot. Obviously, you've got the wooded areas, but if you wanted a large level area, then this upper meadow might be a good choice for that. And we can actually, the cool thing about MapRed is you can goof around with the base maps a little bit, and they just added a layer called Hex 30. Don't know what it stands for, but it's fairly high resolution. This is obviously a late fall aerial, but that shows the property pretty well, actually. You've got meadow transitioning into the hardwood timber, mostly hardwood with a few cedars, and we've seen some monster hardwood trees out here as well. And then you get back into the timber, and then as you get close to the creek, it gets steep right down to that creek. Gorgeous, gorgeous property. So very hard to find anything on a named creek in the Ozarks, especially Bryant Creek, which is one of the premier creeks. As we mentioned, since this is up toward the headwaters, this is not a huge section of the creek. As it goes southeasterly, because it's spring-fed, it gets bigger and bigger as it goes, as more springs feed into it, and then by the time it gets to its destination, which is Norfolk Lake, it's pretty spectacular, but a very, very popular river or creek in the Ozarks with Bryant Creek. Actually, let's turn those labels back on before we forget. There we go. You can see, so Panther Hollow, I believe, was originally about 800 acres. It was used for generations, for hunting, for to run some cattle as well in the meadow areas. And actually the original kind of farmhouse is here, just a few hundred yards southeast of the property, which means that power is very close. It means that phone is very close. So you've got those available. Obviously you'll want to check out the basic property covenants on the listing page for this property, but most buyers find that it doesn't restrict what they plan to do at all. but you do want to be aware of that. Well, yeah, let's call that good. If you have any questions, let us know. Rarely do we have a nice tract like this, creek frontage, wooded, meadow areas. It just really has so many different things going for it. So if you have any questions, give us a call, send us an email. We would love to talk to you.